We are here to talk to you about Oedo Orphanage Halloween Party. So first we're going to talk a little bit about safety. It's pretty straightforward. Please follow the rules and only stay in the designated areas. If the staff tell you to do something, please listen to them. Another thing is don't bring your valuables because the kids really like stuff and you might not go home with it. So anything that you don't want to lose, just don't bring it. Please make sure to monitor the students. If they start to do something that looks a little bit unsafe, please stop them. Last year we had some kids try bouncing a dice on the table. It flew up and hit them in the head and it hurt a lot. So yeah, if you see something, just stop it. A lot of the kids do have behavioral problems, so do expect there to be some anger and some crying, and yeah, it's just normal. And if you need help, ask a staff member because they're trained to handle and they know the kids well. So on that day, we'll meet at the park across from the orphanage, and I'll have some paperwork for you to sign. Please remember to bring your ARC card number and your identification. We'll fill out the paperwork and then we'll go into the orphanage together. We are going to be inside of the cafeteria. There are some tables and that's kind of where we're going to be doing all of our games and activities. So the very first thing we're going to do when we go in is we're going to lay some paper down on the tables. And we do this every time we go. The kids can color and draw pictures on it. So feel free to draw with them. It'll help them get some creativity going. So while the kids are coloring, we can just go around the room and hang up some decorations. So I'm going to be a little bit like the drill sergeant and kind of tell everybody where to go. So I'll have every adult with a partner. So there'll be 2 adults leading each team. We'll probably have 4 teams, and I'll ask all of the adults to stand up in front of the room, and then I'll go and I'll tell the kids which team to join. So your responsibility will be helping your kids to kind of line up as they come to you. And then after everybody's in a team, I'll instruct you to sit down at a certain table. We are expecting to have about 17 kids, so expect to kind of have a group of 3, 4, or 5 kids. There might be more or less depending on how many kids from each grade show up. They're going to be only from preschool up to 6th grade, so it's a little hard to tell now exactly how many kids will be in each team or what grade you'll be responsible for. So once you're in your teams, I'll be running around and I'll be the person to give you your materials. So all you have to do is sit down with your team. Now the first activity is going to be, I'll give you guys a bag and some markers. Please help your kids write their name on these bags so that they can keep all of their treats and prizes here so that they don't lose them. We'll also give you some masks. You can help your kids choose who gets which mask. Depending on their age and their behavior, you might want to just randomly give them, or you could let them kai-bai-bo with each other. It's your choice, but they are going to be all different masks, so just be prepared to maybe have to manage that. So you are going to be sitting at a table with your team pretty much for the duration of the day. So we're going to do a station style of activities where every team will be doing a different activity at the same time. So we're going to have all of the activities inside of a bag like this. So at the beginning of each activity, I'll give you a bag, and the bag will have your activity as well as some instructions on the front of the bag with the instructions in English and Korean. So we're going to be rotating the bags through the teams. So after a certain amount of time, a timer will go off, you'll clean up. I'll come and collect your bag and pass it on to the next team. I'll pass their bag on to the next team, and so on until we go through all of the activities. You're going to have 6 minutes about for each rotation, so you need to set up the game, and then you take the time to play the game, and then after 5 minutes an alarm will go off, and you'll know that it's time to clean up, and then after about 6 minutes is when I'll come and collect the bag from you. So I'll ask you if your kids did a good job, and if they did, and if the game is cleaned up, then I'll give your kids a prize. It might be a candy or a sticker or a toy. It just depends. The timer is probably going to sound like that. The kids are going to get a prize regardless of if they win the game or not. So the most important thing is keeping the kids engaged for the full 6 minutes. So that might mean that you play the same game again. just remember there's no winner, there's only participation. So now we're going to do a brief run through of how to play all of the games. The important thing to remember is that these are kind of ideas, but we cannot totally guess the age that the kids are going to be. So it's important whenever you're looking at our videos to kind of think, what would you do if you had preschoolers? What would you do differently if you had 6th graders? So just remember to be flexible, and you do have to be able to think on your feet a little bit once we're there. So when we're ready to start, I'll come and I'll give your team a bag. And what you want to do is look inside of the bag and pull out all of the materials. It's better if the teachers do this and not the students, so that we don't lose any materials. And just basically go ahead and play the game. Again, you have to remember about the spacing and about your students. So for example, this is ring toss. For the 3 and 4-year-olds, you might have them stay sitting down at the table and just throw the rings on there. But for the 6th graders, you might want to take them to a clear space in the room, have them stand up, and try to throw it at the hat from far away. So again, it's going to depend on you and the kids that you have. You have the freedom to do what you think is the best, as long as it's within the time frame and as long as you're cleaned up when that final timer goes off. So we're going to go through the next games really quickly just so you get a general idea. So this game is like Korean Jacks. Basically, you have 5 spiders, pick them up, throw them down, pick one spider up, throw it up in the air, pick up the next spider, and you keep going. The kids are going to know how to play this game because it's a common school game. For the younger kids, you might just have them, try to pick up the spiders or something without playing like an actual game. But the kids are already gonna know how to play this game. Put it back in the bag, and I'll give you the next bag. So this game, you just toss the spider into the web. You can have one teacher hold the web and move it around to level it up, or take turns throwing it in, or you can leave it sitting on the table and have them throw it from sitting down. So this game we've kind of designed as a race. So you basically use the party blower to blow the ball across the table or across the floor. And each kid should get like one of these balls that they're responsible for. And you can see like which kid can do it the fastest or something. The important thing for this is that there's going to be these party blowers and there's enough for all the kids. So make sure that each kid only gets one and make sure that you're passing them out so that they don't mix up whose is whose. Don't put the party blowers back in the bag. Put the party blowers inside of the students' treat bags so that they don't forget that it's theirs. If your team doesn't have their party blowers inside of the bag, I won't give them their prize because it might get a little too crazy if everybody's blowing their party blowers. The next game is like the traditional Korean game where you have to throw the stick inside of the bucket. And again, you can have your kids stand up at the table, or you can find an open space in the room to let them go and play. So these spiders all have numbers on the back, and what you're going to want to do is flip them over and mix them up. Okay, and then let each student pick a spider, and then on the count of 3 or something, flip them over. 1, 2, 3. The smallest number is out. And then you play again until you have one student standing. This game is just like bowling. Again, you can have the students like set it up on the table. You can set the cups up on the ground and see if they can knock it over. Or you could stack them up like this and let them throw the pumpkin. And just take turns playing it however you want to play. In one of the bags, I'm going to have my Polaroid camera. And the kids really like to get their picture taken. So you can let the kids take turns taking each other's picture. You can only take each kid's picture one time because I won't have that much film. So to turn the camera on, you push this button here. It'll pop the lens out. Make sure that the light is going here. And then in order to take the picture, you just push this button right here. Now the important thing is to wait like 10 or 20 seconds after the picture comes out before you take another picture. Otherwise the camera will overheat and it won't be able to take everybody's picture. We'll have some stickers in there too that the kids can use to decorate their pictures if they're still waiting for the timer to go. In the next bag will have some oranges and a permanent marker for each kid, and they can just draw jack-o'-lantern faces on their orange. Yeah, so this is one of those things too where we'll have enough in the bag for each kid to probably make 2. So make sure that you only let your kids make that number, otherwise you might not have enough for everybody. And when they're finished with it, just let them put it in their treat bag. And their Polaroid picture should also go inside of their treat bag. This game is kind of like, next game is going to be kind of like hot potato. We're going to have an old phone and a Bluetooth speaker. You want to connect to the Inbo Rainbow. Tap on music. We'll try to put some Halloween music on here, but for now, for the example, we'll try with Gangnam Style, the karaoke version. So you can anyways just take turns passing this stick, and then whenever you stop the music, the kid holding it is out or the winner or something. So those are all of the games that we're going to have you do with your individual teams. And those are the only ones that are going to be on rotation. So now we're going to move into the next section, which is group games. This is a game that we're all going to be playing at the same time, but you are going to be only working with your group of students. So basically we'll have everybody doing the same thing all together. So the first thing we're going to be playing is a balloon game. So we're going to give each team 1 balloon, and you're probably going to need to blow that balloon up for your team. Next, we're going to give you some spider webs, and they're going to be a little bit higher quality than this one, but you're going to let the students stretch it out with each other and try to make almost like a, you've seen the game where you get a parachute and you put the ball up in the air. We're going to do the similar thing with the spider webs. Again, we've ordered some better spider webs, so it's going to look much better than this. But basically, the game is going to be which team can keep the balloon from touching the floor the longest. We might add in a few more balloons to try to spice things up a little bit. So for the next big group game, we're going to be doing a variation of bobbing for apples, or instead we're going to be doing bobbing for pumpkins. So because there's 2 people in each of your teams, one person is going to stand with your students and the other person is going to stand at the front of the room, and they're going to be watching over these pumpkins for your team. The pumpkins are going to be filled with candy, and the goal is for students to go over to one teacher, pick up the pumpkin, and bring it back to their other teacher. The trick is that they have to use only their mouth. So this is going to be kind of done in relay race style. So if you're the main teacher with the students, send one student at a time over to the other teacher. They'll pick up their pumpkin and go back to the other students. Then the next student can go. Next, we're going to give your group some piñatas. And so there'll be like 5 or 6 little tiny tubes like this, and they're filled with candy. So whenever you choose a student, it's their turn. They can try to pull strings until they get their candy out. So if it's my turn and I want to pull this string, oh, I think I got it on the first go. My candy came out. And then the next student, they could go and they might pull this string, but nothing happens. This string, nothing happens. Okay, finally they get their candy. Now the important thing is, if you are the person that pulls the string, you are the person that gets the candy. If we wind up with a lot of extra time, we do have a couple of backup games. We might use this garland to play limbo. We also might use this to play a game where we get the kids to stand in a circle, and if they don't duck, they get hit. Or if they don't jump, they get hit. But again, that just depends on how much time we have. For our final activity, we're going to be doing cooking, and we're going to make crazy kebabs. So you're going to give each kid a plate and 1 chopstick. And then you'll go through it and pass out the different materials. And we'll have some hand sanitizer that we pass around for the kids before they touch the food. So you can help the kids put the food on their stick and try to get them to choose the banana first and then pass around the candy second. And it can help if you keep the candy a surprise so that they don't know what's coming. So that way they can make their choices like that. And then yeah, once they've gone through and put their candy and their banana on their kebab, they can eat it. That'll be our last activity, so we'll just say goodbye to the kids and start to clean up. Now, we do usually have like some kids that want to stick around and help us clean up. And it's also okay to go outside and the kids might be playing basketball or something. It's okay to play around with them for a little while some people are cleaning up so that we can all leave at the same time. And that way we can bring the trash to the garbage and yeah, just make sure that all of our supplies are finished. So that's basically it. Just remember to have fun. Remember, the emotions are going to be high. The kids are going to be excited. They also might get angry. They also might get sad. We try to avoid that by giving them all the prizes. And yeah, they usually have a really good time. You're going to find the kids that you connect with and yeah, make buddies with them. And it is important to like to just participate yourself because the kids are going to pick up on your energy. So if you sit and you're kind of confused about what to do, just go sit down next to a kid and play with them. All right. If you have any questions, you can always ask us. All right, goodbye.